obviously great news. You're extending your, it's been a long, decades-long relationship with the Essendon Footy Club, and great to be back and part of this announcement today.
Yeah, it is, and I was only just talking before, I suppose, obviously, being drafted, there was 4 or 5 Indigenous players who were at this club when Sheets was here, so, and obviously that legacy from that and the racial vilification, but also what this club stands for and what it's done in terms of, I suppose, the rap launch today and what we aim to do, and that connection and bond and relationship is very important. And I suppose being part of the club again and being an ambassador, sometimes you never feel you left the club because you're still so connected to it. So it's great to be recognised, but also to have that relationship with the Essendon Football Club as ambassador, and obviously with the AFL as well. What
does the role exactly include? I mean, obviously you've done so much for this club off the field in recent years anyway, but taking on sort of any new challenges, what will the role involve?
Well, I think one of the great successes was the Tiwi Islands, what happened there, and you only have to look at where that club came from and why it was formed, because of the youth suicide that was happening on that community. And football is the key. Football is something so strong, and I think what we've had, the investment that's happened there with Essendon on the ground, employment, funds towards the programs, to build on that connection with the players and the coaches, to come down here. Obviously the Wadi community, that's another story and a great outcome. They've played 10 games and won 8. Here's a community that you had gangs and now a football team that all those gangs play together. So that's football that has worked, and putting those resources behind it with the Essendon Football Club, and no doubt with that connection with Essendon, we want to build on that, build on some of the foundation stuff that's happened there already.
You described football as being the medicine for bridging the gap. Can I just get you to describe that again?
I think it really opens up the opportunities and doors, unlocks the opportunity for our kids remotely, and I just see the power of footy, what it's done, and what it's done for me, but what I'd like to open up more opportunities for our kids in remote and Darwin as well, boys and girls. As I said, our women's footy is just the biggest growing sport, and why not have opportunities for our girls? Because some of the girls are just as skilled as some of the boys who play the footy, but I've seen it work, and we want to develop it more. We want to put more resources behind the football programs, our remote football programs as well. We'd like to develop obviously the academy, the learning centres with Essendon as well, through the territory. Because I think the power of football, we underestimate what it can do, and we've seen it work.
Can I ask you about the current Indigenous players that are on AFL list? Some clubs really struggling to retain them at this point in time. Why has Essendon been such a leader in this area? What have you done? What's Essendon done that other clubs have been unable to do?
Look, I suppose it's been a great affiliation here, and a great insight and understanding. We've had some great leaders here within this club, and I think when I first come into Essendon, we didn't have that structure, but I think we had a lot of mature players here, and no doubt the structure within the club, and we've got good people, and I think people like Nathan, Paddy, good leaders. I think that makes a big difference. And I think there's a journey when I first started in the Essendon Football Club, the people within it have a great affinity. You only have to look at what's happened today, the rap launch. That's a testament to the club, to what they've done in the past and what they're doing now.
What's the biggest problem that faces the Indigenous players? Is it the loneliness, the go-home factor?
I'm a bit short on money. That's my biggest at the moment. I don't know to answer that question. I suppose what we've tried to look at is what's happening. There's some great news story that's happening in Darwin, what we want to achieve with the academy. But we think the academy is something that our remote programs, that we want to build the foundation for those players so they get an insight to the training, to travel, understanding about the science part of the game. A lot of those players that probably drafted every day didn't have that. And I think we want to create that, and I think we want to create that relationship with here. We want Wadi to have a part of it. We want the territory to come in and actually be a part of it and understand it from that level. But we realise that it's more than football that we're trying to do, and to create opportunities, because it's not everyone's going to make it in football, but we want good citizens, good people, and I think that if we get 2% or 5% to come through the academy, at least they'll have all this grounding underneath them. They'll have an insight. Once their football might be here, that the education might be here. If we can bring it to a level or a balance, it just gives them a better opportunity. They've got the skills to go away. They've got the tools to actually, when they do relocate, to go away and achieve what they do instead of playing catch up.
Personally, have you been a bit concerned over the last couple of months about this increasing talk of racism back in the sport, just in regards, I guess, what happened with Liam Jurra and the Matt Randell case in Adelaide? Does it concern you?
Look, I think there are a lot of programs that are happening within the AFL, and I think it starts from the top and the education. I think no one. I think it's got to filter through all the clubs, and I think the AFL are doing that. And I think that's education is the key. I see it as the key, and obviously with the Liam Jurra thing, we wanted to put a real positive spin on. We think we've got a part of the solution here, and that's through the education model.
The problems that we've seen this year, do you think it's more a case of, I guess, cultural ignorance rather than actually racism this year?
Well, if you've ever been out where Liam Jurra lives, you'd understand. And there's the cultural complexities that sometimes I don't understand because they go deeper and you're talking about thousands of years old. But I know the one thing that can help Liam Jurra, and that's football. That's football.
So is there an issue with misunderstanding, do you think, there, a little bit in the league?
Well, it's like everything. I think having the support structure, and clubs want to do the right thing and the best thing for their players, and that's important. We've got to acknowledge the players, the coaches, and the clubs. We've got to get it right. We're not going to get it right all the time, but we've got to keep chipping away to get it right. So, and why wouldn't the clubs use other clubs as a, information or research or just support in a lot of ways? So, I think the game's about helping people. It's not about, wanting people not to fail. So, and that's, there's obviously a great challenge for our players, but I think it's one that they can turn around as well.